Comic Boom.
Hey guys, Comic Boom here to review Justice League number 20. Action's really picking up here, guys. At the end of last issue, Mixel-Pitalik, I call him Mixel-Pick before, but I'm going to call him Mixel-Pitalik now because I've been corrected by more than one person, so now it's Mixel-Pitalik. Mixel-Pitalik last issue basically sent the Justice League into the 6th dimension, or rather they sent Superman into the 6th dimension. Or at least we thought it was the 6th dimension, but the real Superman ends up in a very different place that looks a lot like hell. And whoever the Justice League of the future is from the 6th dimension, something is amiss, and this issue sort of builds on that. Because last issue ended with this future-looking Superman, supposedly from the 6th dimension, coming back and inviting the present-day members of the Justice League into the 6th dimension to show it off to them and say to them, look, everything turns out okay, but we gotta act quick. Let us tell you how we're gonna defeat the Legion of Doom and save the universe. And so Justice League 20 is basically starts off with basically the Justice League of the future talking to their present-day counterparts, basically showing them the 6th dimension, showing them this new world, and it's very interesting. Now, in the meantime, in the present day, we have Mira and Starman trying to take care of Mixel-Pitalik, because apparently Mixel-Pitalik, he begins developing an energy glow around him, and somebody is apparently controlling Mixel-Pitalik. And what's interesting is that it appears to be Lex Luthor and Brainiac have been manipulating Mixel-Pitalik for a while, and it looks as if, based on Lex's comments, that Lex wants to have his own imp. He figures if the Justice League has an imp from the 5th dimension, why shouldn't the Legion of Doom have a magical imp? Now, I'm thinking that if they do end up with an imp, if the Legion of Doom does end up with an imp, they're going to be ending up with an imp probably from the 6th dimension. But right now, we're not really sure what that's going to look like, but it's rather interesting. In the meantime, though, we got to figure out where exactly are the members of the Justice League. Now, the Kendra and John Jones, Hawkgirl and Martian Manhunter, they meet their future counterparts, and they discover that their future counterparts end up getting together, and they are shocked to discover that they have a son named Shane. And what's curious about that is, while the future is big and bright and beautiful, and it looks like a utopia, and Kendra has a nickname in the future. They call her the messenger bird, and John Jones is considered like the shepherd, and it's basically it's their desire for knowledge that sort of brought them together, is what they're told by their future counterparts. And John Jones is particularly happy because in the future there's a repopulation of Mars that's beginning. So it really seems like the future is a great place to be, at least in the eyes of John Jones. Meanwhile, Wonder Woman talks with her future counterpart and discovers that Paradise Island is now not only a protector of truth, but it is a place that also spreads the truth as well. So whereas before Paradise Island was under a veil and it was essentially used as a prison for Ares, it's now the veil has been opened. They now know they do far more than simply protect the truth. They actually spread truth and bring light to darkness across the multiverse. And so there's a real sense of wonder about Paradise Island in the future. And then we got Flash and John Stewart, Green Lantern, and they help create new worlds. John being the architect, John Stewart using his architectural skills and his skills at doing constructs, he basically constructs new universes, and the Flash basically helps place those universes and those new worlds at different places in the time stream. Which leads to another interesting fact. Apparently in the future, they've got complete control over the time stream. So this works very well for the Flash and Green Lantern. And again, the utopian future is really strongly built upon. Finally, we get to Batman. Now, Batman's future is it's a little bit unfortunate for Bruce Wayne Batman, because he discovers that the future version of Batman is not himself. It's actually Dick Grayson who's Batman in the future. And Dick Grayson tells him that, well, unfortunately, that Bruce Wayne, as Batman, ultimately ends up sacrificing his life in order to preserve the wondrous utopian future, but that everything turns out great. It looks like there's actually no crime in Gotham. It looks like it's a really great place to be, and and that no child, Dick Grayson tells him, the future Dick Grayson as Batman basically tells Bruce Wayne Batman that, you know, in the future, no child ever has to go through what you went through as a young child, which is really something that's always been Batman's dream, to eliminate crime and to make sure that no child ever had to go through what he went through. And it's very interesting. And one has to wonder if this entire world is nothing but a construct by Mxyzptlk and or whoever is controlling Mxyzptlk, which we believe to be Lex and the Brainiac and the Legion of Doom, that clearly they're utilizing the Justice League's versions or their dreams of the future against them by sort of trying to manipulate them. This does seem like something that Lex and Brainiac would come up with, and if they are controlling Mxyzptlk, they seem to be doing a very good job of it. Meanwhile, if they want to create their imp, have their own imp at some point, I wonder if their imp is going to be from the 6th dimension, because Mxyzptlk is actually an imp from the 5th dimension. What would it be like to have an imp from the 6th dimension? So that's what's kind of interesting there, because as one of those 7 negative forces, one of the 7 positive forces, I believe, are 5th dimensional imps, and perhaps one of the 7 negative forces is a 6th dimensional imp, which we haven't seen yet, but will reveal himself. At the end of this particular issue is a very interesting scene between present-day Superman and the future version of himself, the future Superman, because, and it looks as if this future Superman looks far more devious at the end of this issue than he has than he did last issue, when he was all happy and greeting the members of the present-day Justice League. I wonder if that future Superman is in fact this 6th dimensional imp that's wreaking chaos and manipulating the members of the Justice League, and of course manipulated events so that present-day Superman would end up literally in hell, or perhaps the real 6th dimension. So you got to wonder, something is amiss here, something's going on. It looks like Lex and Brainiac are controlling Mxyzptlk, at least we think it's them. There are larger forces at play here. We got to wait until the next issue to figure out what that is. But this is really fun. This was a really fun issue. The art here, once again, is absolutely fantastic. The 3 covers that go together. I know it's $3.99 a cover. It's a little pricey to get all 3 covers, but it's worth it. It's well worth it, the way they all go together there. This was really a fun comic. I'm very happy with where things are going with Scott Snyder at the reins here. Jose Jimenez on the art. Again, just beautiful colors, beautiful illustrations. This is what I want in Justice League. As a longtime DC reader, I'm really enjoying this series so far. So guys, tell me what you think. Let me know. Follow me on Twitter at Metropolis40. Hit the subscribe button. And until next time, Comic Boom out.